Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Welcome back to episode 127. That's 127 of the Near Memo with David, Mike, and Greg, where we talk about all things local. Today, we are going to have a dense and accelerated session because we've all got stuff to do right after we record this, or especially me. We're going to be talking about the Google Antitrust case. We'll be talking about the duplicate removal submission form that Google recently introduced, and also the phenomenon of multi-click sessions based on our proprietary research. I'm going to lead off with the Google Antitrust case, which is starting next week, starts on the 12th, and should be very interesting. There are two issues in the case. One is the position of Google as the default search engine. It's sort of pay-to-play relationships with most notably Apple Computer. And the second issue is Search Ads 360. I want to talk about the default search issue, but first, I want to, something I mentioned in the green room before we started is that I took the courts, Google filed a motion for summary judgment, which seeks to eliminate issues from the case. And they won on a number of issues, but the two that I mentioned survive, and that's what will be tried next week. And I took the court's opinion granting Google partial summary judgment. I uploaded it to Claude, which is Anthropic's AI tool. And I said, tell me which of these claims, which of the government's claims survive the motion for summary judgment, right? Which is a fairly abstract thing to say. And
only a lawyer ex-lawyer would say it.
Well, right, making it even sort of more maybe opaque to the AI. But
esoteric.
But the amazing thing is that it got it right. It got it right. It said these claims were eliminated, these claims remain. And I read the opinion myself, so I know it was correct. It was unbelievable to me that it took this, whatever it was, 60 plus 70 page opinion with all kinds of footnotes and redacting and arguments and subsections, and it was able to distill that information from this opinion.
I have a question.
Yes.
So does this mean you're thinking of getting back into law?
No. It's just me being suitably impressed with the capabilities of this device.
Actually, celebrating the fact you're in technology, not law.
Yes, but here's the rare confluence of the two of them, or the not so rare confluence, as the case may be. Okay, so on to the main portion of my discussion, but that was just an incredible thing that I needed to point out. So I'm not default search engine on Safari most prominently, and the Safari browser on mobile. Search Ads 360, not going to talk about that. So what's at stake? So presumably, if the government finds that Google created sort of anti-competitive harm with its relationship with Apple, among others, it will sever that, or it will end that relationship, which has been estimated to, transfer as much as $20 billion a year, $20 billion a year from Google to Apple. So what happens then if that happens? You get a European style choice screen probably when you were setting up your new phone that said, pick a search engine, like a browser choice screen. And ultimately, I don't think there would be any impact at all, zero impact on Google or its market share. Whatever the outcome of this case is, the deal remains intact, or the deal is ended and there's some sort of new system for choosing a search engine on your Safari browser. I don't think Google's market share or usage of Google is affected in any way at all. And in fact, Google would save $15 or $20 billion a year, probably.
I was going to say, does Apple get compensated at all if they end up deciding this way?
I don't think so. I think Apple just has to implement a new system. I just think they're SOL, and then the disincentive for them to develop their own search engine might be gone. But I think it's kind of an absurd situation because I don't think, as a practical matter, it's going to have any impact on the market at all. Zero. There you go.
So who do you see as the forces behind that particular charge? I mean, do you see this as purely a governmental issue, or do you see other companies as having precipitated this, and that charge in particular because they don't like the fact
Well, I
that
mean,
Apple's getting $15 billion?
To give you the short version is that Google's rivals were definitely involved in trying to generate this kind of antitrust case, which is a massive case, or used to be a massive case, which combined the state attorneys general and the DOJ. There were all kinds of different charges and claims, including Google self-preferencing, which was thrown out kind of amazingly, but still thrown out. So Yelp is in there. Microsoft is probably in there in the background. I mean, there was all kinds of lobbying by private companies in advance of the filing of these cases. I mean, it was years and years and years of wrangling and hearings and all kinds of stuff. So this is the culmination of it, and I think that the outcome is going to be pretty trivial from an impact on Google standpoint. You know, I don't on the ad side, on the SA360 ad side, I have less visibility because I haven't looked at that issue as much.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, as a user, I'm quite sure I would continue to use Google because it's no worse or better than anybody else. The question is, what would Apple do? And that's where it starts to get interesting. If they, in fact, they've been gathering user search behavior since the beginning of the Google deal, right? They watch every query before it goes to Google. They know what people are searching for. They deliver the I am lucky response right now. They often will provide even more nuance. So clearly they have in place the data to replace this. The question is, would they, and what would they replace it with?
Well, I mean, I would hope that they would do something interesting, but we'll see. We'll have to wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.